Don't get slippery with me.
All right. All right. For Judging Judy. All right.
Hello. This is Judging Judy, the podcast that puts Judy Steinland on trial. I am Dan G, and just in case you thought to yourself, hey, I'm going to listen to this new podcast, only 2 episodes, I'm going to skip the first one and start with number 2, let me remind you of how things work here. Also, it's always a good idea to start with number 2. Good move. Each week on Judging Judy, we examine an episode from Judge Judy's extensive archives. I'm talking over 25 years of TV courtroom gold. We start first with a couple of reminders of what the world was like, what was going on when the episode originally aired. Then we jump into a step-by-step review of the cases that Judge Judy heard in her courtroom that day. Then, and this is the most important part, we turn the tables on Judge Judy to find out if she is innocent or guilty, if she did the job she was supposed to do by providing justice for us, for the people in the courtroom, and for the world. See, Judy was a real judge, playing a fake judge, ruling over real cases in a fake courtroom, and in the end, everyone kind of got paid anyway. Nonetheless, I will be the final arbiter for Judy's fate. Oh, and then at the end of the episode, there's also this game of hangman, and there's a quote. There's a lot to offer here. Let's jump right into things. Today's episode, number 206 from season 11, it originally aired April 26th, 2007. Let me just consult with Professor Wikipedia to see what was going on back then. Dennis Kucinich, congressman from Ohio and part-time lawn gnome impersonator, pushed for a resolution to impeach Vice President Dick Cheney. Well, I hope for Dennis Kucinich's sake he didn't go on any duck hunting trips with the Vice President after he pulled this stunt, because between you and me, Dennis has got these gigantic ears that would be very easy to accidentally mistake for a mallard. Oh, and also on this day, on April 26th, New Hampshire became, quote, the first state to embrace same-sex unions without a court order or the threat of one. And now look at us in 2025, painting over pride crosswalks in Florida outside the LGBTQ plus nightclub where 49 people were murdered and 53 people were injured. Look at how far we've come by going backwards. Thanks, Professor Wikipedia. That degree you got in hubris studies is really paying off. Next up on April 27th, we've got sports box scores. It looks like in the 21st and 20th games respectively in their seasons, the Toronto Blue Jays defeated the New York Yankees 6-0, with A.J. Burnett notching the win and Phil Hughes getting the loss. You know what might be interesting? What if I went through pitch by pitch and narrated the entire game for you, the listening audience? Yeah, that's good podcasting, right? Right? I'm going to default to saying that yes, this is good podcasting, and I will begin doing dated play-by-play in the next episode of Judging Judy, unless I hear otherwise in the comments. Repeat, I will begin doing pitch-by-pitch, inning-by-inning, excruciatingly boring play-by-play for baseball games that happened 18 years ago, unless you leave a comment telling me otherwise. In other news, let's look at the box office for April 27, 2007. The top 3 movies were Fracture, Disturbia, and Vacancy. Of number 1, Fracture, number 3, Vacancy, but number 2, Disturbia, I think that's the rear view window type story, but with Shia LaBeouf, where he spies on his neighbors and witnesses a murder or something. I haven't seen it, but I remember not liking the trailer, or the poster, or Shia LaBeouf in general. But I do also remember that there's a Simpsons episode that also lifts the whole rear view window motif, and I'd much rather watch that. Do you think that in Disturbia, the Shia LaBeouf version, do you think he witnesses what he thinks is Ned Flanders digging Maud Flanders' grave, only to eventually learn that it's actually a grave for a houseplant he accidentally overwatered? Maybe if that happened in Disturbia, then I'd watch it. Maybe. But look, that's enough for rewriting LaBeouf movies. I'm all LaBeoufed out.
She came late.
The first 3 words of this cold open are, she came late. We're kicking off the opening credits, the cold open, with, she came late. I've heard of coming early being a problem, but coming late? Is that something you can sue for? This is awfully steamy for a cold open. Things cool down a little bit for the rest of the cold open until we learn
her limo was hell on wheels.
I'd put the temperature in the courtroom right now at a solid 100 degrees Celsius. Oh, this is a much better intro than last week. Last week was season 25, now we're in season 11, and there's just so much more going on. And I realized last week's intro kind of robbed me of joy. I mean, this one we have Judy posing. It looks like she just won the Miss Kmart pageant circa 1984. Her arms are akimbo and she's got the smile that would send chills down Little Red Riding Hood's grandparentless spine. Oh, and we got a voiceover with the Michael Bay-like energy that makes me think I'm about to watch two Transformers needlessly blow up half of Nairobi. I think season 11 and me are going to get along quite nicely.
People are real. The cases are real.
The explosions are CGI. Oh, sorry. Still got me thinking of a battle between Galvatron and Cogman. Our first case is between limousine rental company owner Dolly Matheny, who I'm already thinking ranks third on my top Dolly list behind Parton and the sheep that was cloned, and her client Todd Wheatman. The allegation is that Todd failed to pay for services rendered. Had the services rendered for Todd been help in picking out a tie, I wouldn't have paid either. He's got one of those dark navy with white square jobs that absolutely came from Sears as a 2-pack with his white dress shirt. It screams, you'll only find me dressed up for weddings, divorce hearings, and appearances on Judge Judy.
Todd claims his limo ride to Chicago turned into a nightmare.
Hey, what don't this limo have none of that deep dish pizza all of us Chicagoans are always eating? And where's my fried steak sandwich that Google also tells me all of us people from Chicago like? This is a nightmare.
Mr. Wiedemann says it was the most horrific limousine ride he ever had.
I got a couple of quick follow-up questions right away. First off, how many limousine rides has this guy been on? Is he going to like junior proms every week? Does he have this whole collection of cummerbunds at home in his closet collecting dust? And what's number 2 on Todd's most horrific limousine ride list? I have a sneaky suspicion that we're not going to get any of my questions answered. Todd Wiedemann, who based on his milquetoast appearance, must never in his life have been called Todd Udeman. He's all business, and I suspect he won't veer into talking about how many junior proms he went to at all during this episode. Back to the case. Todd needed the limo not for a bachelor party or to film a Kid Rock music video, but to take his family on a Christmas time trip to Chicago. You know, nothing says Christmas like riding in an unusually long late model Lincoln Continental that smells like parliaments and Bengay. Todd, his wife, and 2 sons were headed into the second city for dinner, a night on the town, and wait.
We're to see the Radio City Rockettes Christmas Spectacular.
Hold that back. The Rockettes in Chicago during Christmas time? If you told me that, I don't know. The Rockettes toured around America's small towns and hamlets during the off-season. During spring or fall or whatever, fine. I couldn't object to bumpkins from Scottsdale, Arizona, or Peach Bottom, Pennsylvania, or
Lead us the slack jaw Yoko.
Chicago, Illinois, getting to see those high-kicking gals around Arbor Day or what have you. But Christmas? That holy time of the year when Mariah Carey's nearly drowning in royalty checks? That's just not right.
It's time!
The plan, according to Todd, was pick up at 1 p.m. and then a return ride around 11. 10 hours with 2 teenage boys in December Chicago weather. That sounds like a nightmare. Still, like a real sadomasochist, he was willing to pay, quote, around $500 to Dolly in exchange for being driven to and from this 10-hour-long bad idea. I say around $500 because Todd claims Dolly wouldn't give him a firm price and didn't want a deposit or anything like that. No deposit? You need to put down a deposit for everything. Aldi makes you put down a deposit to use a shopping cart, but Todd didn't see any red flags about Dolly not wanting to deposit for limousine.
Are you a businessman?
Business? No.
Huh. What a strange way to answer this question. I wonder if this is how he answers every question. Sir, would you like the soup? The soup? No. Sir, do you know how fast you were going? I'm not sure why the cop is a butler, but work with me. Sir, do you know how fast you were going? How fast I was going? No. Even worse, he kind of grins when he says no. Like being a businessman is somehow beneath him. Like Judy had asked if he were a gigolo or a circus clown or...
I'm a high school principal.
I knew something was boring and unlikable and irredeemable about this guy. Judy, seeing that she's speaking to her principal and recognizing that by virtue of his profession he's a professional idiot, She tries to educate Todd, telling him that the around $500 is to account for things like a fuel surcharge, tip, and other things. All the while, Dolly nods along. I get the feeling that Dolly thinks she and Judy, they're two peas in a pod, that they're cut from the same cloth, that they're two sides of the same coin, that, I don't know, they're two flat tires on the same limousine. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, brief aside here, and admittedly this might be coming from a personal space as a person who was banned from substitute teaching at a specific school just for being cool, banned by a principal. But is there any job less worthy of respect than a high school principal, or even a middle school principal? Sure, U.S. Attorney General and a majority of Supreme Court justices, they are worthy of less respect. But to you, my many school principal listeners, I think you're the scum of the earth. All of you. Without question, and I'm unwilling to change my mind ever. Major twist here. Dolly doesn't just rent out limos, she drives them too.
I'm not only the heckler president, I'm also a client.
But not well.
What time did you get there?
1:15.
Why were you late? Right there, you're in trouble.
Okay, yes, ultimately Dolly's fault. But we're talking 2006, 2007, so there's a very good possibility that Dolly's trying to navigate with a bunch of maps she printed off of MapQuest. And those MapQuest maps were about as reliable as the word of a middle school principal, if you know what I mean.
The only reason she got there then was because I called her and asked her why she was late. And she said, "Oh, I'm so glad you called because I don't have your number and I don't know where your house is. I'm lost."
Big deal, Todd. So you know the way to your own house. Everybody knows how to get to their own house, Todd. That's not a thing to brag about on national television. It's getting to other people's houses that's difficult, Todd. That's why Dolly was late, Todd. If she was driving to her own house, she probably wouldn't have been late, Todd. You know what? You know what, Todd? If you're so good at knowing where your house is, oh, why don't you just drive you and your family to the city to see Bush League knockoff Rockettes yourself, okay?
Because you claim. Stop playing with the papers. You've
I
already.
apologize.
I don't know what's better, Judy's unwarranted outburst, which kind of just screams, nothing interesting's happened in too long and I need to be the center of attention again. Or Dolly's apathetic apology that seems to say, if we were in my ailing 1998 six-door Cadillac DeVille with a car phone, with an AM/FM radio, with a 4-disc CD changer, with privacy-tinted windows and power seats, if we were in my Cadillac, I'd be doing whatever the hell I please with my papers. But I know this ain't my DeVille because the seats in here ain't velour. They aren't powder blue and they ain't caked with dust. This is your courtroom. I respect that and I'm sorry. Now I want to note Dolly is not from the South. She has a very boring Midwest kind of anonymous accent. But I'm happy with my impersonation all the same. Look, Todd's not only upset because Dolly was late, but also because he claims she showed up with a different car than the one that she promised him. No one promises Todd, where's your hall pass, Wiedemann, a Cadillac DeVille limousine, and then shows up with a...
This is my Notre Dame car.
So it's a car full of fighting Irishmen? It's a car with Sean Astin's, his face on it?
Rudy, get him!
It's a car with a bloated sense of self-worth?
I believe that she told you that.
Thank you.
I also believe her that this is the only car she has.
Who here among us hasn't lied about having two limousines to hide the fact that they've only got one limousine? Who among us?
Don't get slippery with me. If you get slippery with me, you're going to be a very unhappy person.
Do you think Judge Judy ever says the same thing when she's eating? Don't get slippery with me, okra. You're getting slippery, oysters.
And clams and umi.
I've been dealing with limousine companies a long time.
Now, if that ain't the darndest humble brag I've ever heard, I don't know what is. Judy's tallying up the offenses so far, and for those keeping score at home, Dolly's number 1, late, and then number 2, she showed up with the wrong car. But surely that a nightmare does not make. Does it, Todd?
We went to turn the heat on, and there was no heat. It was actually blowing out cold air.
Whew, now I'm on Todd's side. As hard as it is, you know, I mean, I get cold when the freezer's been open too long, even if I'm across the room. So I can't possibly abide by my Wiedemann Todd here and his family freezing in the limo. The Notre Dame limo, might I add. It'd be different if this were the Pepperdine limo.
I'm not saying that he didn't push the wrong button, but there was nothing wrong with that heat.
She's saying that she's not saying Todd's an idiot who doesn't know how to turn a knob, but that she's also not saying it either. After all, an old lady she drove around a week before.
Listen to me. I don't care what happened a week prior.
I'll have to keep that clip in mind whenever I start to reminisce about past episodes. Dolly 9to5 Matheny claims that Todd only brought up the issue of the heat and his family nearly dying from hypothermia.
Oh, lousy smarts weather.
After the fact, when she has to get paid.
Fibber, fibber.
Judy's real confident Dolly's lying here, and I guess I have to take her word for it. After all,
I've been dealing with limousine companies a long time.
After the commercial break, we're promised Judy talking over Dolly about tires. But perhaps more interestingly, in the teaser for the second case for the episode, we hear
there were some undergarments that she needed.
We started with coming too late, and now this. Is this Judge Judy or Judge Judy After Dark? Back from the break, and Dolly got lost again. Despite turn-by-turn directions and maps that Todd provided her, Dolly couldn't find her way to the theater. Oh no, the Weidman family is gonna miss out on the Chicagoland Temu brand Rockettes. Whatever will they do? This is such a tragedy. Todd's about to continue on, very drolly, describing his family's ordeal, but Judy's got grievances of her own with Dolly.
I did mention to her...
Just a minute. Now, Bird, take those away from her, would you please?
Here. I was just trying to get my evidence ready, ma'am.
Thank you.
You've heard of the cha-cha slide. You've heard of the stinky leg. But this is the Dolly shuffle.
I was just trying to get my evidence ready, ma'am. I was just trying to get...
We get on the Dan Ryan Expressway. 15 minutes later, we were on the Indiana-Illinois toll road.
This is kind of just a pet peeve, but what makes it so that someone has to tell you the exact name of the roads they're on? It's just a certain type of guy who always does this. Oh, I took the 210 to the 15 to the 5 to get from one IKEA to the other. And then I took 715 to where it connects with Business 209 before it becomes Lower No One Cares Boulevard. Can we get a name for this road name-obsessed personality type? McNally Man? Atlas Pilled? Moving on, boring story short, now Dolly's got a blown tire. That would probably be a minor issue, except that Dolly's never changed a tire. Me, full disclosure, I haven't changed a tire either, so, it's no sin. But I also don't rent and drive limousines for a living. If I did, I probably would have crashed it and I'd be dead by now because I'd have gotten so distracted playing with the window partition thing that separates the front of the car from the back of the car. I know my weaknesses, and that's why I don't drive a limousine. In a moment which must have filled Todd with so much chivalric self-righteousness, Todd steps up and tries to change the tire himself. Only...
Doesn't even fit, Your Honor. It's the wrong spare for the car.
Todd has practiced this line so many times in front of the mirror. Imagine the outtakes. It's the wrong spare for the car? It's the wrong spare for the car. Still coming off the high that comes with having watched a bunch of sad women parading around a stage in suburban Chicago instead of Rockefeller Center, Todd's sitting there, freezing along the Bill Boynton Pablo Torres Interstate Toll Road motorway.
I am freezing to death.
At least he didn't say literally. When do you think misusing literally became the norm? I gotta think Todd's only a year or two from saying, I literally was frozen literally to death. Lemony Snicket himself couldn't have imagined a more unfortunate series of events. Yes, yep, that Lemony Snicket, author of both the Ersatz Elevator and the Hostile Hospital. See, because when Dolly tried to call a garage or whatever to help with the tire issue, her cell phone was dead. You mean to tell me that the Notre Dame limousine didn't have a plug-in charger for the cigarette lighter? I think it did. It definitely did. But I think that Dolly wasn't using it because she was too busy chain smoking through the whole time that Todd and his family were at the show and then at Steak and Shake afterward. Dolly, ever the prudent businesswoman, didn't have AAA or roadside service, so she ended up borrowing Todd's phone, and she called her mechanic about 20 times. None of this would have happened if maybe earlier in the morning or earlier in the day, if Dolly had called this number instead.
The original psychic hotline at 1-800-343-6200.
They told me romance was coming, and they were right. I always feel better after I call. They said I'd get a better job, and I did.
Eventually, Todd and his family did get home.
One of her sons shows up in a Dodge Ram pickup.
So he's not just a road name guy, he's a car name guy too. Judy jumps right to the verdict.
You are not entitled to a nickel. Not a nickel for
I
this
understand
trip.
that, but you know what? I didn't understand.
Not a nickel for this trip.
Now, Dolly does still have time to argue her side of the story. Yes, she was late with the wrong car, and the car was cold and shoddy and the tires blew out. And she didn't have a spare and she didn't have roadside assistance. But.
Car where they were watching movies on the way. If
You gotta tell me that letting the kids watch old VHSs of Land Before Time counts for something.
Listen to me.
Judy's not swayed by Dolly's overwhelming hospitality. Not when she's seen these limousine company tricks before. Late car, wrong car, bad car. No money for Dolly.
Zero. Nada. Goodbye. Your case is dismissed.
Except, Dolly drops this huge bomb during her final closing remarks.
I don't have anything personally against Mr. Wiedemann except for he's assistant principal.
Todd has been lying to us. He's an assistant principal. This changes everything. Oh dear God. And by the sound in Dolly's voice, you can tell she gets it too. This is classic megalomaniac assistant principal nonsense. We've been hoodwinked by a glorified hall monitor. We've got virtually no time to recover though because we've got our next case.
26-year-old Jonathan Weiner.
I'm looking at this guy and I'm pretty sure we've got a wiener on our hands, not a wiener. Jonathan is suing his ex-girlfriend Jenny for loans she used to repair her car and for undergarments from Victoria's Secret. I didn't know that AutoZone had a tie-up with Victoria's Secret. Do you think it's like a buy one spark plug, get one push-up bra special? Lest you think that this was some kind of fly-by-night, money for brake pads and V-strings one-night stand kind of deal. The two had been a couple for 5 years before things went south. Jonathan tries to get cheeky in a way that confirms my suspicions that he is, in fact, a wiener.
And when did you split up?
Which time?
Jenny says that these weren't loans, they were gifts. I'm not in a position yet to say whether I agree with Jenny. But imagine if you could do this with every kind of loan. Goodbye mortgage, goodbye car payments, goodbye Sally Mae, you cruel, heartless monster. Jonathan claims that the first of the loans was so that his then girlfriend could drive to her grandfather's house in a town or two over. He says he was really concerned the car was such a piece of crap that it was almost falling apart. Jonathan himself had to borrow the money for the parts, and he did the repairs himself too.
Good for you. Wow.
You know, if judging don't work out for Judy, cheerleading just might. She gives Jonathan the same kind of rude, kind of snide response when he talks about the next loan that he gave his girlfriend, this time for 3 bras from Victoria's Secret. And again, the money didn't come from Jonathan's own piggy bank. He had to borrow it. I'm beginning to suspect that if we were to look at Mr. Weiner's Discover card bill, we would see a long, extensive history of bad financial decisions and a very high interest rate. Anyway, in something of a surprise, Jonathan ended the relationship, at which point he started to weaselly beg her to pay him back.
I would talk to her and I'd say, well, when did you get paid? You know, you owe me this money. And she'd just, oh, I can't believe I owe you that much.
Just so you know, Jenny has thus far not sounded at all like Eeyore, despite Jonathan's splendid impression.
But
that was your pillow talk. You know, you owe me this money. Get me this money.
Do you think, is it possible? Should Judy get writing credit? Did Rihanna 8 years later get inspired by Judy?
Bitch better have my money.
Jenny offers up an alternative explanation for why she never paid Weiner back.
It was never really mentioned until the day I was moving out.
I imagine it went something like, oh no, you can totally have my 3 signed 3 doors down doorstops, but I'm gonna need you to pay me back for all those corsets we got you at the Steamtown Mall. Jenny further claims that she already paid Jonathan back for the car parts and that 2, not 3 of the bras that Jonathan purchased for her were meant as gifts.
I paid check for all 3 of them, $84.
Imagine, just for 1 second, being behind the poor schlub breaking out his Toy Story 2 checkbook to pay for 3 of his girlfriend's bras. I use the word poor here in every single possible meaning of the word.
Don't you feel silly being here?
Yes, I do.
It's over.
Silly? In a fake courtroom? With a live studio audience? With a short sleeve button-up shirt that clearly had been purchased, if not stolen, from TJ Maxx? Silly never. Judy senses that in a relationship, people spend money on each other. Just like there's clearly no accounting for taste, there's no accounting for the little everyday things that 2 people who care for each other spend on each other.
She was very miserable in our relationship.
Who can blame her? Judy shows no sympathy for the slimy wiener and rules in favor of Jenny.
Who knows how many more boyfriends or whatever she'll have.
Incel alert, incel alert. And now the part of the podcast that the rest of the podcast has been leading up to. It's time to judge Judy. As a reminder, I get to decide if Judy was innocent or guilty. Innocent means she did her job, guilty means she didn't. I'm going to use a broad set of arbitrary criteria in my head to figure this out, but ultimately, I'm grading Judy based on whether she did or did not provide justice for all. This one's tough, but okay, let me get the easy part out of the way. Judy got the second case right. She was maybe a little over the top, a little look at me Louie with the whole rah-rah thing, but she was right. Judy right, Wiener wrong. Jenny didn't owe Jonathan for the bras. She didn't owe him for anything. Now back to Todd and Dolly and the limousine ride from hell. Obviously, I've gone back and forth on Todd. First, I didn't like him because of his unlikable personality. Then I didn't like him because he was a principal. But then I found out he was cold, and that made me rethink everything I thought about him previously. But then we found out that the whole time he was lying, he was actually an assistant principal all along. Imagine being so miserable, so pathetic, that you have to lie about being a principal. Only an assistant principal would stoop so low. Just for that lie alone, I'm tempted to disagree with Judy's ruling and say she's guilty for siding with Todd. Plus, Judy came in with a lot of limousine rental business baggage that clearly biased her against Dolly. There may very well have been parts of the story that we never got to hear just because of Judy's bloodlust, her vendetta against the limo renting cabal. But I can't allow my own, very much justified biases against pond scum assistant principals cloud my judgment. Ultimately, I think Judy got it right. I think she's innocent. Neither of the plaintiffs deserve their money, be it for driving to Chicago or buying bras. Judy, you're free to go. Whoa, what's that? That's right, it's time for Hangman, our penultimate segment. Yep, it's still just me playing using hangmanwords.com, playing alone, but one day there might be a guest. As a reminder, we've got stakes. This isn't your childhood hangman. Someone's metaphorical life is on the line. Last episode, my loss condemned Stephen Colbert, metaphorically speaking, to death. Let's see if I fare any better, because this week's person of notoriety who will either metaphorically survive or metaphorically die is Charlie XCX, the voice of a generation, a lifeblood of common sense in these stupid times. A lot is on the line here. Hopefully we don't have a repeat of last week. Now I've got 6 chances, 6 guesses that can be wrong, and I'm using hangmanwords.com's SAT word list again. So let's see how I manage. Like, it looks like this one's a little easier maybe. We got 7 letters, and again, I'm fully aware of how bad this is for a podcast, but I'm bought in. We got about 7 letters. I'm gonna go with one of the big ones, T. Whoop, we got a head. There's no T. Okay. Only 5 more chances to be wrong. I'm gonna guess O. Nope. We got a torso, a midsection here. No T, no O, and I'm down to 4 incorrect guesses. I'm gonna guess L. Oh, darn. We got a left leg. So I only have right leg, right arm, left arm, and I'm done. I mean, well, I'm fine, but metaphorically, Charlie XCX is done. What about R? Oh, right leg. How is there no R, no T, no L? I'm down to 2 more incorrect guesses, and I have none of the letters right yet. What about E? Okay, the last letter is E. So I still have 6 letters to guess, and I only have 2 more times that I can be wrong. What about A? I think maybe that second letter is A. No, it's not the second letter, but it is the third from the last letter. So we have blank, 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 A, blank, E. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Not anywhere good yet. I'm gonna go with one of the other big letters, the high value letters, S. Oh no, no S. We're down to 1 more incorrect guess. But I'm not gonna take the hint. I'm not gonna take the hint that Hangman Words is offering me. Just like I'm not gonna take the hint that this is a bad idea to do for a podcast. Got 1 more incorrect guess. I think I'm gonna go wild here. I think the letter between A and E at the end might be V. No, I was wrong. Charlie XCX is dead, metaphorically, spiritually speaking. The word was mundane. It was mundane. I'm so sorry, everybody. I was wrong, but more importantly, I killed, metaphorically, Charlie XTX. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for listening to Judging Judy. I only have one last segment, and that is an out-of-context quote from Judy Scheinlin. I think he was a good businessman, real estate guy, and he was certainly terrific on The Apprentice. Thanks again. Like, subscribe, share, fornicate, and listen to my other podcast, Sincerely Sydney. It's about a time-traveling failed newspaper advice columnist. It's at least as funny as this was. I promise.